Today we're going to crack open Sun Tzu's The Art of War. Yeah, it's a 2,500-year-old book, but you'll be amazed at how relevant it still is. We're going to explore its most powerful and maybe its most surprising lesson, that the greatest victory is the one you win without ever fighting a battle.
Right there. That single idea is the key to everything Sun Tzu was talking about. This isn't a book about glorious combat. It's a philosophy of winning psychologically, strategically, of outthinking your opponent so completely that the battlefield becomes totally irrelevant. It's about sealing the deal before the first shot is even fired.
And that's exactly why this ancient text is still required reading at places like West Point. It teaches that war is, and I quote, a matter of life and death for a nation. It's a road that leads to either safety or total ruin. It's really the foundational text for modern strategic thinking.
Okay, so before we go any further, I want to be crystal clear about something. What we're about to dive into is an impartial look at a strategic analysis from our sources. We are not making political statements, we are not making predictions. What we are doing is exploring how these timeless principles from Sun Tzu are being used to analyze a very modern and very complex situation. So let's get right to the heart of it. The analysis we're examining lays out 10 of Sun Tzu's core principles. But here's the twist. It's not using them as a guide for how to fight a war, but as a roadmap for how to strategically avoid one. So these first few principles really set the stage. Number one, we've already hit on it. The absolute best thing you can do is win without fighting. Then, principle two gets very real, very fast. Sun Tzu warns that long wars are a disaster for everyone. They drain your treasury, they wear out your military, and they just break the spirit of your country. And principle three? This one demands a brutally honest look in the mirror, because you can't even begin to understand your enemy until you truly understand yourself, your weaknesses, your strengths, all of it.
Now this is really interesting. Sun Tzu called this the moral law, and it's all about the home front. The analysis from our source is pretty blunt here. A nation just cannot win a war overseas if its own people aren't united behind the leadership. If you've got protests in the streets, the entire foundation of the state is already cracked.
I love this quote. It perfectly captures the difference between real strategy and just reacting. You see, according to Sun Tzu, the victors have already done the math. They've already created the conditions for victory before the fighting ever starts. The war itself is just a confirmation of what they already achieved. The defeated warrior, on the other hand, just rushes into battle, hoping to figure it out along the way. That's not a plan, it's a desperate gamble.
And that idea of gambling leads us right to this. The choleric leader. You know the type. Hot-headed, acts on emotion, easily provoked. For Sun Tzu, this was one of the single most dangerous flaws a leader could have. It means acting out of anger or ego. The wise leader, though, operates on cold, hard calculation, because they understand that a nation, once it's destroyed, can never be put back together again.
So, what's the highest form of strategy then? It's not about being the best fighter on the battlefield. It's about balking the enemy's plans before they can even get off the ground. It's about using diplomacy to stop your enemies from ganging up on you. The analysis we're looking at suggests this means focusing on political moves to break up coalitions, not launching missiles. The goal here isn't destruction, it's preservation. It's to keep your nation whole and intact.
Okay, so we've talked about unity at home, about calculation, about avoiding battle altogether. But what does Sun Tzu say is the single most important thing? What's the secret ingredient for a victory so complete that most people won't even realize how it happened?
The answer is one word: foreknowledge. Now, in Sun Tzu's time, this meant having spies. In our modern world, our source argues it means deep intelligence and foresight. And we're not just talking about knowing how many tanks the other side has. We're talking about the foresight to find a path to de-escalation, what Sun Tzu might have called building a golden bridge to let your enemy retreat. So how do all these principles actually look when you put them into practice?
Well, this summary table from the source material really ties it all together. Just look at this. It applies these ancient ideas to a very real modern scenario. And what's so powerful is how every single strategic principle is linked directly to a tangible benefit for the people. Subdue without fighting through diplomacy? That means cities don't get bombed. Avoid a long war? That means stabilizing the economy. And the moral law, addressing issues at home? That leads directly to peace and safety for your own citizens. So this isn't just about high-level strategy. It's about the well-being of millions of people.
Ultimately, when you step back and look at the whole picture, the analysis from our source material points to one very powerful conclusion. True strength isn't found in being the most aggressive, but in having the wisdom and the discipline of strategic restraint.
And that leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it?
Sun Tzu taught that a leader has to know when to fight, absolutely, but it's even more important to know when not to fight. In our modern world of hair triggers and rapid escalation, maybe his ancient wisdom is reminding us that the most profound art of war has always been the art of choosing peace.